You know, as the story goes, 1981 was like 2014. It was one of the earliest vintages in California. And we were racing to build a winery. So it became pretty obvious to us that we weren't going to make it. The stainless steel tanks, the barrels, the roof wasn't going to be there before the grapes showed up. And so, like we always do when we have a problem to solve, the Benziger family goes down to the London Lodge, the bar and grill down there, has a couple of cocktails, and we do the brainstorming session. And so we're down at the London Lodge talking about, like, what the hell are we going to do? And sitting down at the end of the bar is a biker, a Hell's Angel biker by the name of Barry Gold, who was overhearing our conversation. And he owned a junkyard in Sonoma. And he says, hey, I got a couple of old milk trucks that you guys can rent if you have no other alternative, if your tanks don't show up. Eventually,
I can't believe this story.
Eventually, we ran into a roadblocks. We couldn't find anything. Nobody would make a tank that late in the year, and nobody would give us a barrel or anything. And so finally we called Barry up and we said, hey, we'll take those 2 milk trucks. And we crushed our first Sauvignon Blanc into one of the milk trucks, and we crushed our first Chardonnay into the other milk trucks. And these were the first wines that the Benziger family was going to make. This was our destiny, okay? This is what we were going to base our history on. And as these wines started to ferment, they would foam over. My mom went down to get dry ice 3 times a day that we would just throw into the top of the tank. And when we did, they would foam up and all these fruit flies would be all over the place. And it was like, holy shit, we're screwed. We're going to F this wine up for sure. The wine finally fermented. We got it into barrels, and it seemed like it was going to be okay. And so a couple of months later, we got a call from Rich Thomas, and he goes, hey, are you guys going to enter those wines into the Harvest Fair? And it was like, man, this is going to be embarrassing, because the first review that we got in our wines, the wine writer said that the wines tasted like shellac. So we were already dinged, okay? So anyway, Rich talked us into putting our wines into the Sonoma County Harvest Fair. And we didn't even go because we thought that, we weren't even going to win a bronze medal. But we got a call to come down to the Harvest Fair because something was going on. And so when we arrived down there, we found out that we won the sweepstakes for the Sauvignon Blanc that was fermented in that milk truck covered with fruit flies, and that the runner-up to the sweepstakes was the Chardonnay that was fermented in the other milk truck. And so the one thing that taught me was the fact that if you loved what you do, if you were passionate about it, and if you were really, really enthusiastic, you could run through brick walls, and that you could make grapes and take wine that was fermented even without the technology, and you could still pull it off. Because at the end of the day, what the consumer really, really gravitates to is passion. And if you can taste that blood, sweat, and tears in a wine, that's what really makes great wine.